All right, happy Wednesday. Of course, I went all day thinking it was Tuesday, but that's okay. It just means I'm one step closer to Friday. But I hope you're all having a great Wednesday afternoon. This show is dedicated to Emily Pike. If you do not know who that is, I'm going to sit here and explain this to you in a minute. Um, Emily Pike is an Indigenous child, 14. And back on January 27th, she disappeared from her group home. She's part of the San Carlos Apache Nation here in Arizona. And she's one of many. Hey, Antonia. Hey, Kate. How are you? So good to see you, ladies. She was in a group home. She went missing on January 27th. This is the big news here in Arizona, and I'm bringing awareness, is what I'm doing. Her body was found, or not her entire body, on February 14th. Her body was found dismembered. They cut her arms and legs off. They only found her torso. And it's horrible. I mean, a 14-year-old child, that's a child that they did this to. And it's very sadistic, it's very evil. But this is not a new thing. And there isn't any headlines on it. It's not getting mainstream media coverage because she's not a blonde, blue-eyed white woman. She's an indigenous woman, an indigenous child, and MMIW, missing, murdered, and indigenous women. Um, this is an issue that is rampant. It's rampant, and so many Native American, especially women, are missing. They are found murdered, and there's no clue to who has done this. So this is me bringing awareness to it, and um, I stand with the Native American community on this as their ally and friend, that we get justice for what has happened to Emily Pike and all the others that are still missing and not found. Something has to change here. Um, Something has to change. Yes, say her name and keep saying her name. I even put in hashtags justice for Emily Pike on this video. So my heart goes out to her family, but I think they need to start looking into some of these group homes, because I think these group homes are part of the problem, and they're not there to benefit the child. They're there to harm the child. Okay, I'm done. That is my rant. Let's see. I know. Yes, say her name. Absolutely. All right, so I did the paid forecast last night, and it was a little choppy. Now I'm hoping that it's not too choppy this time around. I'm It's all overcast, there's winds blowing, it's raining on and off. There's no snow, but we'll see how we do. I am going to be going back on Patreon right after this broadcast, and I will be posting your tarot. So you guys will get that as well. But this is the free one. And some signs, like this is the free one. So Virgo's the only one I cover. But on the paid one, there's some signs, because I have 2 Patreon members in here. I'll explain this. Some signs only have a paragraph. Then there's some signs like Pisces. Pisces has 2 paragraphs. There's a lot going on there for Pisces these next 2 weeks. Virgo had a lot. Aries had a lot. The rest of the signs, not quite as much. And that's just every month things change. The stars change, and one month, one sign could have a lot of things going on, a lot of trines, sextiles, and conjunctions or squares, and then the next month it's another sign getting it. So Just want you to be aware of that. All right. Let me get to my notes. I know. And I did post a video for the Wheel of Fortune on crypto. I can't even begin with that right now because I made a TikTok. Oh God, this was maybe a month ago that said to get your money out of your 401ks. And there was a reason why I said that. And here we are. The stock market is tanking. Crypto is actually tanking too. Not as bad as the stock market. And like I say, don't trip by the dip. I would, if you have money, buy those coins I suggested if you're on the Wheel of Fortune tier. I will be doing another video for you guys in a week or so on things as we get moving here with the economy. Don't trip by the dip. Okay, so Virgo full moon. This is also a blood moon, and it's a lunar eclipse, and it takes place this Thursday, Friday, March 13th, 14th, depending on where you are in the world. And it's going to happen at about 2:55 a.m. This is Eastern Daylight Time, and 11:55 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. The March moon is also called the worm moon or sap moon, and it gets its name because worms emerge out of the ground after long winter's hibernation. This full moon also brings our hopes and dreams as the equinox season is here. Daylight is at an even balance, especially the 20th, 21st. Is it the 20th, 21st, and 22nd? Those 3 days, energies of even balance. And this is where hopes and dreams in the equinox season can manifest. Nature begins to like burst with life and fertility. Here in my neck of the woods, we don't have earthworms. We have fire ants, and they are in hibernation for the winter. I always know when some winter's ending is as soon as I see that first group of fire ants pop out of the ground. I know it's almost over. But as of yet, I have not seen any fire ants. We here in Arizona are kind of getting a late winter, so it is what it is. Now, Virgo is all about cleansing, um, cleansing out the clutter and reorganizing our space, better health, commitments, breaking bad habits, and checkups too. We must focus on keeping our own selves in check as this energy wants us to cleanse. It wants us to purify, um, tap into holistic healing. It's about organization. It's putting in the hard work. And yes, there's a touch of sarcasm that comes with Virgo energy. Now, this energy does tend to make many of us perfectionists, and sometimes we have a tendency, I could say this because I have so much Virgo in my chart, even though I'm a Capricorn. Sometimes we tend to overthink and overanalyze things and situations. And we always have to remember, I always tell myself this, instead of focusing on the tree, focus on the entire forest, okay? I tell myself that as well. I'm sorry. I have a cat that he had an opportunity to leave and now he can't leave. Hold on. Go. 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 Bye. Okay, where was I? Now, this full moon energy will be about mindfulness towards our health, towards fitness, diet, purity. It's perfection in some ways. Once again, organization, holistic medicine is completely blessed under these stars. It's textiles, so any kind of textiles that are organic, like 100% cotton, 100% hemp, things like that. What else is it? It is connecting with nature and green magic energy. Now, Virgo has to be a pillar of perfection. They have to have a pillar of purity and cleanliness, and they usually have good organizational skills and usually are a pillar of good health most of the time. Now, remember, this isn't just any ordinary full moon. It's the one which rules the universal dragon's tail, and it brings trouble. The lunar eclipse will begin at 12:55 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on March 14th and at 9:55 Pacific Daylight Time on March 13th. So what is that? Is that Friday night? Right? Thursday night. It's Thursday night for you West Coasters. Okay. The total lunar eclipse will be visible over North America. It'll be visible in South America and western parts of Europe and Africa on the night of March 13th, 14th. We'll be able to see it. Now, I'm more concerned with what comes after the eclipse. And I kind of battled with myself here about whether I should give the general public this information because this is something that is a paid feature on Patreon. However, I thought about it and I sat there and I said to myself, I do a lot of other things for Patreon. I don't think they're going to mind me warning people to be safe. But on March 17th, we have a whole bunch of things going on. We've got the sun, which conjuncts the true node. And anytime the sun in Pisces is going to conjunct Pisces, the true node, which is the north node, the dragon's head, as I call it, this is always an indicator of a major event that's about to occur in nature's realm. And since we are in a Pisces energy, what does Pisces bring? Water, oil issues, religion problems. Pisces always deals with the realm of those three subjects: water, religion, oil, and also insanity. For some people, like I said yesterday to my Patreons, there's some people on TikTok that need to be institutionalized. That's all I'm going to say. It's like, you need help. But we begin the Platonic phase. This is what I'm concerned about. And I'm going to give you the dates that I usually just give my Patreons just for this one time. Because this is a biggie and it's a big one. And the Platonic phase is lasting longer than it should. So from March 15th to March 21st, we are in a Platonic phase, making for very dangerous energy for the world at large. Now, on March 19th, the sun, which is in Pisces, conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. And this conjunction is going to make certain souls either realize that they either walk in the divine of the greater good for humanity or within self-deception and illusion. So that energy is going to show who really has cosmic consciousness and who doesn't. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. Some people are elevated and advanced, and others sit down here with jealousy, illusions, delusions. So just be prepared for that. That week is also, like I said, it's a Platonic phase and has all these conjunctions and going on. And conjunctions are either positive or negative, but we're going into a waning moon phase. It's a blood moon, and it has a little more intensity than normal. Okay. Moving on. Now, anything purchased now for diet health, such as vitamins, juice cleanses, materials for gardening, are all blessed under these stars. And I didn't put this in the newsletter, and I did mention this to Patreon yesterday, even used workout equipment, used weights, used like treadmills, used exercycle, any kind of used workout equipment, very blessed now. And I say used because we are in retrograde. We are in a Mercury retrograde, even though it is in Aries. Um, we're going into a Virgo lunar eclipse, and it's kind of making us think more about our health, things like that. So if you're in the hunt for some workout equipment, hit those thrift shops. Now, all the earth signs and mutable signs, which the mutable signs are Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius. We're gonna feel this moon, but also those born with the sun, the moon, the ascendant, the dragon's head or tail, feel it the strongest. Okay. We operate when the moon is in Virgo, we operate as human beings on a more critical level, not only with ourselves, but with others around us. So especially Virgos are the hardest on themselves. That's why they're hard on others. Just a little reminder that no one is perfect. Not Virgo, not Capricorn, no sign is. Now, Virgos in general are going to need to be less hard on themselves. And Virgos, give yourself a pat on the back for all your hard work. Don't be so hard on yourself. Um, embrace those achievements you've accomplished. You deserve it. Okay. Now, I added in the Magical Folk free, and I did that, the free newsletter, just so if you ever decide you want to become a member for $5 a month, you will get this. But I don't incorporate this usually in for the general public, but I decided to add it in because it's not every day you get a lunar eclipse and a blood moon. Now, usually for my magical folk, any sort of spell work for employment, to manifest better jobs or better health, would all be blessed now. However, this is considered a blood moon lunar eclipse. It's not really about manifesting anything, but rather about, what does Virgo rule? Cleansing, purifying. But so cleanse, purify, banishing, releasing what no longer serves your greater good, letting go, cutting that cord, cutting ties, shadow work. This is great for crossroad work. I've seen a lot of practitioners on the TikTok talking about how they're getting ready to do some major work with Hecate, because she's the ruler of the crossroads. So you can do that too. Let everything within you ebb and flow. And I should have added more to this. I explained this to Patreon yesterday. Let everything within you ebb and flow out. All the negative out, all the positive in. Now, green magic, such as, planting and working with Mother Earth or the green goddess, will be empowering for many of us, especially with that spring equinox upon us on Thursday, March 20th. It's a great time to get out there and plant. Now, I know in certain parts of the world, we are still, mornings are frosty and cold. Same here. It's not like I could go outside and start planting seeds. They'll get, not freezer burn, but frostbite because it's still in the, it's about 29, 30 degrees in the mornings here. So, but you can start germinating indoors your seeds and getting them ready for 4 weeks from now when we are in a little bit warmer weather. Now, let's see. Where was I? Anyway, March 20th, it's also first day of spring, so happy spring and blessed Ostara to those who celebrate. This is the original Easter. The real Easter. Sorry, did I say that? The equinoxes, both spring and fall, are a time when the next 3 days and nights are of even balance and strength. Now, it is the perfect time to create that energy within yourself and your home. Balance is the key to better health, both mentally and physically, and it creates like harmony from within. Any spell work on March 20th should involve some sort of planting of herbs, flowers, trees, or veggie gardens. Um, Even if it started indoors, like I said, it's all about getting out your green thumb and making it grow. So happy planting. I do not have a green thumb, but according to my husband, I kill everything. So some people have that green thumb and some don't. I do not. All right, moving on. I'm going to give Virgo's forecast. I just want to see what is going on in that. Hey, Dark Venus, how are you? Let's see. Always share that. Oh, so some are losing it. Yes, I agree. I agree. No, there's a lot of crazy people on TikTok. I'm like, Jesus, there's a Ramones song. It's old, but every time I go on TikTok, it's like in my head, I hear psychotherapy, psychotherapy. I know that's mean, but there's some people that really need some help. Anyway, Virgo, this is your moon, Virgo. This lunar eclipse full moon will be sitting right on you, your first house of self, soul's purpose, attitude, appearances, first impressions, and new beginnings. The universal dragon tail is sitting right on you too. And in the many months to come, because this dragon sits on you until I believe it's July 27th, 2026. It sits right there on you until then. So you have over 12 more months of this, 13 more months of this. The universal dragon sits right on you. And so Virgos will be questioning their own perception on things. And what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is they will seek out new ideas, new endeavors, and they might even have a change in their own perspective on how they view the world at large. It's time to focus more on yourself, Virgo, and outlook on life. Now, the tail may be sitting right on you, but you have the opportunity to have a change in course or ideas. And it's best not to overthink things these next few weeks, of course, the next year in general. You just kind of go with the flow of things. This Virgo eclipse energy is really all about making time for yourself, Virgo, and bringing a balance of peace and harmony into your life. You got this, Virgo. It's just once this dragon shifts next year in July of 2026, you might have a whole completely different perspective on things in life. So there is that possibility. Okay, moving on. Now we are in eclipse season, as they say, and it seems to be affecting many Virgos, Pisces, Libras, and Aries the most. Let me explain why. I explained this to Patreon yesterday, so I'm going to redo it here. The universal dragon is in a Pisces Virgo axis and will affect all March and September born souls. Aries has the tail on their work and their health sector, making them deal with employment issues or health matters. April, May, June, July, August, September, sixth house, health, service to the world. Now, I'm not saying that there'll be, Virgos that have major health problems, but there could be, you might go to the doctor and he says you got high cholesterol or something like that. It could be very minor. I'm not one that feeds into fear. Just because the tail sits in the sixth doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get sick. Before I go on, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I can't even remember when my kids were little when this happened. Um, the dragon's head was sitting in my sixth house. I had the head in the sixth house, and I ended up in the ER with a kidney stone. And I thought, but the dragon's head is in the sixth. How could this be happening to me? you know, and that was some years ago when I was a student in astrology. And so I've realized that just because the dragon head is in your sixth house doesn't mean you're not going to get away with possibly not getting sick in some way. So just be aware of that. And usually it's an indication when you get sick and the head is sitting there, it's usually an indication of something that you need to continue taking care of within yourself and your body. But as for Aries, um, it, there's a lot of, like, the retrograde is here. It's in Aries. We've got Venus retrograde in Aries. So there's a lot going on in Aries for Aries right now. But don't fret too much. Even with that tail sitting there in your sixth house, Aries, it can also mean like something comes back. Like, I had shingles once, I'm getting them again. That could be a possibility. So just take precautions, get those checkups, okay? Okay, where was I? Now, for Aries too, this also could make you deal with employment issues. There might be some Aries that are going to retire. That's a death of a job and a rebirth in retirement. So there's that possibility too. Libra has this in their 12th house. The tail is sitting in the 12th, and probably the worst place for that tail to be. You never want the dragon tail either natally or cruising through the zodiac to be sitting in the 12th, because it's the deep subconscious mind. The tail in the 3rd and the tail in the 12th are the worst places for the dragon to be, because this is 3rd house, mental clarity, and then the 12th house, the deep subconscious mind. So Libra has this in their 12th, and it can bring on depression. It can bring on fears. It can bring on past issues or situations that you have no control over because the past is in the past. You have to let go of that. It's okay to reflect, but there is no future in your past, is what my astrologer always used to say to me. You can't go back and change it, but what you can change is the future and make it a wonderful one. So just hang in there, Libra, because you guys have it rough this time around with that tail sitting there. So when that happens, when you start feeding into fears, go find a happy place. I sound like Happy Gilmore. I just watched that movie. Go find your happy place, Happy. Lunar eclipses are very much about inner change. Lunar is internal, inner feelings. The moon is emotions. So it's all about the internal energies. And as the moon rules our emotions, it doubly intensifies within these eclipses. This eclipse happens to be in Virgo, which is earth energy, cleansing, it's purifying, it's sanitizing the world. And as I stated earlier, I am worried about what comes after this lunar eclipse. For the Platonic phase will be either about earth changes, religious wars, chaos, social unrest, and even a terrorist attack is possible. I'm not taking that off the table. This also means like mass shootings, things like that. This is why I say I always stay out of populated places, large crowds, and strange people. When you're in that Platonic phase, no going on blind dates with someone you've never met. Do not go to that fancy popular restaurant that took 4 months to get a reservation for. It won't go well. Do not go to any political rallies, any protests, large functions, massive concerts. I mean, going into a little nightclub is one thing. Going to your favorite little pizzeria is one thing. Staying out of the mass population is the key to safety if you want to get through this energy. And with this Platonic phase, Russia always does make headlines. This is their phase. Russia is ruled by Pluto. So there's that. And I can't give you all the dates here, but around March 25th is a zenith of the Uranic phase. So be prepared around that date for shocking news could hit. This is explosions, eruptions, earthquakes, electrical issues, storms, and bad weather in general. We're in Mercury retrograde, and that's going to do a doozy. Modern astrology, I believe it's the 15th, but in ancient Nostradamus astrology, it hit on the 8th. And for my Patreons, I will be doing a little write-up. I'm going to try and start it tonight and finish it tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a little write-up on how this retrograde is going to affect you by house and sign, because it's in Aries, and then I believe the 29th, towards the end of the month, it goes back, it goes into Pisces. So Pisces is going to get hit with this retrograde too. So those two signs, Pisces and Aries, will be dealing with this retrograde. But the Uranic phase around the 25th is, expect some crazy weather, and do not fly on these dates and watch the skies. And what I mean by watch the skies is, if you're a UFO hunter, you're going to see some incredible things around that zenith there. Like I said, I can only give you one date. Patreon has the rest, but anytime there's a Uranic phase, there's a lot of energy up there, both in the skies, not just with airlines, with drones, UFOs, UAPs, all of that stuff. And I'm wishing all of you a wonderful full moon and eclipse. Hopefully many of you will have the opportunity to see it. I have a telescope that I'm going to set up so we can see it really well. Now, I am going to be going into Patreon, and right after I'm done with this broadcast, I'm going to give Patreon their tarot reading for this lunar eclipse. I'm in my work clothes. I got off work and decided to do this. Yes, Dark Venus, I am. I think I told my Patreons this, but I did not tell the rest of the general public. It was when we had the new moon in Pisces. Now, I have a dragon's head in Pisces, but Pisces energy, and we're still in that Pisces energy. This eclipse doesn't happen till tomorrow. So, and Pisces and Virgo are polar opposites, but I was an absolute basket case. When was that new moon? Was it end of February? Oh my God. So I was telling this story about the school I work at. The neighbor that lives across the street was at work, and her Rottweiler died. Okay. An hour before that happened, every dog in the neighborhood was barking. Like they had this sixth sense that there was something going on with that dog. I think the neighborhood dogs were trying to warn us, because the house next to it has two dogs. But every morning I drive to work, I would see the little Rottweiler, in his yard. He was an adorable dog. Of course, I love animals. So the secretary I work with used to be a vet technician. So she ran over to the house because she saw animal control there. Guess the neighbors next door called animal control. And as I'm leaving work, she says, neighbor's dog across the street died. They don't even know yet. They're at work. And so I was like, oh my God, that's horrible. I pull out of the parking lot, staff parking lot. Talk about timing is key. I should have never pulled out of that parking lot at that time. I lost my shit. No, I see them taking the dead dog out of the house or out of the yard and putting it in the van, And I cried the whole ride home. I'm crying, going, what is wrong with me? And I slept the rest of the night. I could not, I just felt lethargic. I already felt lethargic that morning. So Dark Venus, I know what you're talking about. Super sleepy, can't wake up. That is definitely Pisces energy. We kind of feel like we're in a fog, you know. That doesn't mean Pisces are in a fog in general, but dealing with that dog and them taking that dog out just did something to me mentally. I mean, I went home and cried my freaking eyes out for 2 hours. I never met this dog. I didn't know this dog. Why am I crying over this damn dog? So I get where you're coming from there, dark energy, or dark Venus, because I just kind of it's like, so yes, this energy can make us more emotional, but it can also make us more lethargic and sleepy. So that makes sense. Now, I am going to share, I pulled one card. I can't share the whole tarot with you guys, but I am going to share what I pulled for the next 2 weeks. The Oracle card, I pulled about 6 cards for my Patreons. I'm only going to share one with the general public. And this card that I drew is the Man Holding a Heart. It's card number 45. Hold on. I gotta fix this, or you'll never see the card. It is in reverse, but it is the Man Holding the Heart. Upright, you can get a good look. Isn't he a cutie? Man Holding the Heart, and it is in reverse. So anytime it is in reverse, when this card is reversed, it could indicate a disconnect or even total shutdown regarding your emotional life. And it is time to open up and know that you can handle deep emotions and the energy they bring up. Whether it's anger, grief, or utter bliss, you can be comfortable in their experience and in their expression. The Man Holding a Heart reverse can also indicate a difficult connection or even within the relationship with a man who may be easy to anger, deceitful, or quick to criticize. This behavior could be attributed to fear and self-doubt, yet he would never admit it. You deserve honoring in any relationship, so set some boundaries and don't buy into this emotional chaos. Your soul longs for emotional peace. So this actually kind of makes sense for the eclipse, because it is really about, for some people that aren't, in the metaphysical, they're going to be wondering why they're shutting down and why they're having these emotional disconnects. And that is the power of the stars. When you know the stars, you kind of know what energies are going around. Now, the affirmation here is, I am comfortable with all of my emotions. I honor and express them in appropriate ways. I feel peace. So mote it be. Amen. Whatever you want to say at the end works. But this does make perfect sense for these next 2 weeks. We will feel imbalanced a little bit, okay, with this energy. And some more than others, myself included. I have a lot of Virgo energy in my chart. Not a dragon's tail in Virgo. So, oh boy. Ward, protect, cleanse, purify, banish what no longer serves your greater good. That's what my best advice is, because that's what I'm going to do for my own self, to keep my own self in check and my sanity in check. I'm going to do that. Now, before I end, I do want to bring something to your attention here. Oh, Tonya, hold on. What is she saying? Next week, I'm going to have a conversation with my ex, trying to to agree before the final court. Oh, maybe impossible. Good luck. No, if you guys could talk things out rationally, that is the key. Antonia, I sent you your tarot reading. Oh, maybe. I'm completely done with Patreon except for my best friend. I have to get to her. And then once the Pisces moon hit, I was like, I can't do this right now. I feel like a basket case. You got it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I had most people came back at me and says, I got it. And then there's a few right on point. Okay, good. Now, if you need me, because you're Patreon, I will do this for you as a favor. If you need me to pull some tarot cards for you before your court date, let me know. I will do that for you. You have your lucky and unlucky dragon days for this year, so try and maneuver around those dates. I'll have to go back in and see when your ex's dragons were because I forgot what dragon head and tail he was. I know he's a Capricorn. I just can't remember what his dragon's head and tail is. But maneuver around those dates and just know that I am here for you if you need help in any way through the stars, reading cards, things like. Oh, okay. Taurus, Scorpio. Head, dragon head and Taurus, tail and Scorpio. Well, just know that when we have a platonic phase, he's right in the zenith of his unlucky days. No, I'm serious. With a tail in Scorpio, chances are pretty good your dragon tail's going to fall. Your unlucky days are going to fall. Oh, shit. Your lucky and unlucky days are going to fall in that platonic phase. I shouldn't laugh. Kind of funny. But yes, perfect. Well, I've seen his stars. He deserves everything that's coming to him. That's all I'm going to say. I do want to say this. I will leave you with this before I end. And usually when I do my predictions, and I gave the general public 3 or 4 of them, and obviously Patreon got all 29. Usually I start doing updates for those predictions about 3, 4, maybe 5 months into a dragon. Okay. So usually if the dragon shifted in January, I'd probably start putting predictions in till May. Well, in all my years of doing this, I think it's only happened once to me.